Welcome to the training, everybody. This is Fran Harris. I'm going to show you how I made $12,000 on my first teleseminar/webinar, and I'm going to give you the exact blueprint that you can use to start making $1,000 to $10,000 in the next 60 days. Now, here's what we're going to cover today. We're going to talk about whether webinars are dead. I know there's a lot of noise out there where people are saying, well, webinars are not doing so well. I'm going to show you how that's absolutely not the truth and not the case. Why webinars? Why this is still the absolute business you need to either add to what you're already doing or to start doing today completely and exclusively. What are some of the business models, the most successful business models in webinars? I'm going to cover those. What tools do you need to get started? How much money you can make? And how you actually can get started today. All right. So who am I and why should you listen to me? Well, as you can see on the screen, there's lots of television networks on the screen. I have appeared on every single one of those networks. Now, this is not appearing on their website. I've literally sat on as a guest at CNN. I had my own television series on HGTV. I've appeared on Fox Business, Good Morning America, The Today Show, The Tonight Show with Jay Leno, Comedy Central, ESPN, and many, many others that you see on the screen. Again, that's not me appearing on their website. That's me being on those television networks. I'm currently a play-by-play announcer for ESPN's Longhorn Network for women's basketball. And so my life has been, I have my own consulting firm, worked for about 4 or 5 years for Procter & Gamble, the maker of some of the biggest and most global multinational brands on the planet, Crest, Scope, Tide detergent. Was a sales manager, very successful sales executive for Procter & Gamble before I started into television, and also my own consulting and coaching firm, Business and Marketing Boutique. Now, I did my first high-ticket teleseminar in 2004. It was a 10-week business coaching program where I literally got on the phone, a free teleseminar, because webinars were not as big as they are now. It was free teleseminar, packed the lines with about 80 to 90 folks on that call. At the end, I made a simple offer for people to work with me in a 10-week business coaching program. I did $12,000. Yes, $12,000. So I've been doing this for almost a decade, and a lot has changed, and that's what we're going to talk a little bit about today. Clearly, in the time that we have, I'm not going to be able to go through everything I know about how to do successful webinars, but I promise you that by the end of this, you will have enough information to go forward and get started making money with webinars. So the first question most people say, aren't webinars dead? Well, I started over 15 years ago, and with webinars, they were probably kind of trickling into the marketplace 15, maybe 16 or 17 years ago. And they started with corporations who were trying to cut down on training costs and expenses. And now what we have is the internet, which allows us to have a global audience. No travel, no hotels, no dressing up. Your attendees can participate from the comfort of their homes, their offices, with a computer, a tablet, or a smartphone. So when I hear people saying that webinars are dead, I know those people have no clue what they're talking about. If anything, webinars are becoming even more and more popular and in demand. Just look at what Google just launched a few years ago with Google Hangouts. Now you can actually do webinars without these ridiculous fees, monthly fees, like you have with some of the services online. And I'm going to show you and introduce you to some of those today. All right, so what are the top business models? Well, we're not going to be able to talk about every single one of them in our time together today, but I'm going to talk about the top 3, what I think are the 3 that are most accessible, what you can start, literally hang up with me today and start with one of these business models today. But if you want to see what's on the screen, we're going to talk about the talk show host model. We're going to talk about the teacher, the trainer, and then if we have time, we'll talk a little bit about maybe 1 or 2 of the others. But looking at the affiliate products, the webinar manager, the JV broker, and the local webinars. But I'm going to focus on the top 3, and that's talk show host, the teacher, and the trainer. So the talk show host, a lot of people, when they say, well, how can I do webinars? I don't know anything. I'm not an expert or anything like that. This model right here is how you can get started without being an expert. So what you do is literally like Oprah Winfrey did, and like some of the other talk show hosts out there, Queen Latifah, Ellen, they interview people, right? Maury Povich from back in the day, they interview people. They don't necessarily, their expertise isn't necessarily in the topic they're talking about, but they know how to sit there and ask questions. So this is a great model for folks who want to get into the webinar business. You find experts and you interview them. That's pretty much it. And if they have a topic that people are interested in, you invite people to that interview and you sell something at the end of it. That's pretty much how that business model works. I could try to complicate it, but honestly, that's how it works. If you're listening and watching me right now, then you already know about that business model because you probably have been on a webinar where someone was interviewing someone, okay? There's the teacher. Now, sometimes I will do this. I have about maybe 5 to 6 membership sites. And there are very specific membership sites about very specific topics. And I'm just basically teaching people what I know about that topic. So that's another business model. So let's say if you're a mom who has a son who's a football player, maybe you want to start a webinar series or a membership site on how to be a better sports parent. And then you just kind of teach them, okay, here's how you do this. Here's where you find really inexpensive cleats, or here's where you find really top quality helmets, or whatever it is. You're kind of the tour guide. So you can literally use webinars to be like the tour guide or the teacher for your specific topic or niche. Then there's the trainer. And that's where you go into more depth. A lot of corporations are basically plugging into trainers online. And so they will learn about effective communication, or they'll learn about accounting, where someone is actually teaching them how to do a certain topic, right? They're training them. And you can even more to the point is like looking online and seeing yoga trainers or personal trainers where they're doing their exercises, and you can look on your app on your smartphone or on your computer and you can see a personal trainer literally teaching you how to become more flexible as they're showing you the exercises. So those are just the top business models that we've personally used in my companies to make massive difference, but also just incredible amounts of money. And when you take a look at these top business models and you start to kind of plug yourself into them and say, okay, maybe I'm not going to be the trainer to start out with, but ultimately I might be that person, but I'm going to start out doing the talk show host and I can actually interview people. So those are just some of the top business models. I want to go ahead and move on before we run out of time. So what tools do you need? Well, basically all you need to do a webinar is a platform to deliver your webinar, and that's pretty much it. Now, I added attendees and a payment processor in case you want to sell something, but honestly, you can do a webinar and not have anybody attend. Now, some of you are thinking, why would I do a webinar without anybody attending? Well, you do that because you can sell it afterwards. You can sell the webinar as its own product, or you can do the webinar, right? You could actually promote the webinar and do it and not have attendees, and then promote it afterwards, and then people can watch it in what's called a replay. So these are all the things that you'll learn as you kind of continue on this journey about how you make money with webinars. But honestly, guys, all you need is some way to deliver your webinar. And Google has made that affordable because the Google Hangout is absolutely free. But what you're looking at on the screen right now is something that we also use called the Meeting Burner. You go to meetingburner.com. Very, very simple to record your webinar and host your webinar live. And it is absolutely free for up to 100 attendees. Again, though, don't wait for attendees to do your webinar. You can do this, practice it, and if you like what you've done, it will record it. Meeting Burner will record it just as Google Hangout will, and then you can promote that webinar as a standalone webinar in replay. So those are really all the tools you need. Some way to deliver it, and then ultimately attendees, and some way to take payments for folks because you're going to be fantastic. All right, so what can you sell? Well, you can pretty much sell anything you want on a webinar, but here are 6 of the most popular things that we sell online when we do our webinars. We sell our info products, so this could be additional webinars, this can be ebooks, it can be software, all kinds of things. You can sell courses, all right? You can sell services. Local businesses are selling services. Everything's from search engine optimization to traffic to all kinds of things. Advertising, you can sell marketing, you sell anything you want from a webinar, because what a webinar allows you to do is to develop a deeper relationship, right? You can go to a website and you can look at words on a page and you don't get a sense for who I am. Like literally, I could have sent you guys to a sales page. You would not hear my voice. It's kind of impersonal. You don't get to know me. There's not that connection that you get with the webinar. And that's why webinars are so incredibly effective for selling and teaching and training, because you get to make that audible connection. And then on Google Hangouts and even in some other platforms, you actually get to see people. And so you get to make that physical connection, that visual connection that is so important when you're attempting to build a relationship and a rapport with your audience. So you can also sell, as I said, additional webinars. So one of the things that we typically do is, let's say we have an idea for a great course, and we will get on a webinar and we will talk to folks. We'll have an audience, and then the product, what we're selling at the end of that webinar, will probably be another webinar series. So we'll say, okay, if you like this, you can join me for 4 more weeks every Monday at 6 o'clock Central Standard Time. And we're going to talk about this in week 1. We're going to talk about this in week 2. We're going to talk about this in week 3. We're going to talk about this in week 4. And that's pretty much how you do that. You can also sell software. You can sell, let's say you have a topic and you're going to be talking about single dads raising daughters, and you do one webinar and you think, hey, we might want to have a physical event. We're going to do that in the spring of 2014 or the fall of 2014. Well, guess what you sell at the end of your webinar? You sell tickets to your event. And then also, as I mentioned, you can sell subscriptions to a membership site. Literally, there's nothing you cannot sell on a webinar. You give great content. We like to have fun. We like to make them events. We make them like television shows. We use all kinds of sound effects. We put videos in them. We put images in our webinars. We just have fun, because when people are entertained, they're more in a buying mood. They're more likely to be persuaded to go deeper with you if you're offering different services and additional products at the end of your webinar. So those are just some of the things that you can sell. So the big question you guys are probably wondering is, how much money can you make? Well, you can look at this from 3 ways. You can do a free model where you get on a webinar and you deliver content and you make an offer at the end. And an offer is just you offer someone to buy your product or your service or your program or something like that. You can use the paid model, which is, we've done both. We've done everything. We've actually done a lot of free webinars. And then there are webinars that we teach that, because we give a lot of great content in every single webinar that we host. And I will give great content, and I go, okay, this is going to be a really packed webinar on, let's say, how to get $1 million in publicity in the next month. Well, we may not give that for free. If there's no back-end product, if there's nothing we want to sell at the end of that, we may just charge admission on the front end. So you can do that as well. But you have to have a level of expertise to do that. I don't necessarily encourage or discourage people from doing any model. You've got to figure out which model works best for you. And then you can also use a hybrid. So you can use a combination of a free model and a paid model. There is no right way. You use the model that works for you. Okay. So how do you do a webinar? This is my 7-point system for my webinars, and it's pretty much the standard for what I do on my webinars, whether they're free or paid. The first thing I do is I kind of come up with a topic, and then I create an outline. I go, these are the things I want to talk about. There are 3 key points that I'm going to talk about for 5 to 6 or 7 minutes. And then within those key points, I'm always going to have a story. Sometimes that story is about me. Sometimes it's about my client, but it needs to be a story that people can identify with. So for example, let's say if you're doing a weight loss webinar, and then you start telling your story, and you go, I used to be 200 pounds overweight, couldn't get into my clothes, wouldn't buy new clothes. So what you're doing is deepening the connection with the people who are listening to you. So first point might be kind of setting your goal, and then you're going to tell a story around setting your goal. Then the next point might be getting an accountability partner. Then you're going to tell a story about an accountability partner. And the third one may be kind of staying on track. And then you may introduce some tools and resources that you use to stay on track. All right, got me? So 3 key points, 3 stories. And your social proof. That's basically the testimonials. Those can be your own results. And literally at this point, you need to be showing people on screen what that social proof is. So if it's a testimonial from a client, if it's your own social proof, meaning if you're doing, again, sticking with the weight loss webinar, let's say you lost 200 pounds, then you would put up your before picture and you would put up your after picture. That is huge social proof. Okay. And that's all you need to do. So people go, okay, I see that what he teaches or what she teaches actually works. Then you're going to make your simple offer. And your offer may be, to work with you one-on-one. It could be group coaching. It could be your 5 video series on effective weight loss, or how to recoup, money from a divorce, or whatever your topic or your product will be. It's a simple offer. And I tell you, in your first webinar, keep it simple. Don't add a whole lot of stuff to your offer. Keep it simple. It's an ebook, it's a video, it's, maybe it's like, okay, I'm going to give you an ebook, and then we've transcribed our video, and then we are going to give you the audio so you can listen to it on your iPhone or your iPad or your iPod. Okay, very simple offer. Don't confuse folks on your line, on your webinar. Keep your offer simple. You can charge, whatever you want. You may charge a low fee and then get your, something $47, $97. And I've charged thousands of dollars for coaching with me. So you've got to figure out what makes sense to give you the greatest value and then to give your audience a fair price, right? And here's the thing, you want to make sure that your audience, after they see your offer, that they're so blown away by everything that you're giving them and the tremendous value that it just makes sense for them to take you up on your offer. Okay. It's like, I would be crazy not to do this. That's what you want your prospects to think. I'm silly if I don't do this. This is a great offer. I can't pass up this opportunity. Okay. Then you're going to add some bonuses. So if you sign up with me today, here's what you're going to get. You're also going to get my sales and conversion course. You're going to get to come to an event with me. Again, what we're trying to do, we're working on creating tremendous value in the minds of your prospects so that they know that they have to take action. And then the last thing you want to add to your offer is scarcity. So you want people to not be able to hang around for months and get this offer. If you make a killer offer at the end, if you give away $10,000 in value for $197, there has to be a time limit on how people can get that. So 24 hours, 48 hours, a week, whatever it is, stick to it, publish it, and stick to it. If they're only going to have 2 days, when that 2 days are up, you need to make sure you take your offer down. And that, guys, is pretty much how you do a webinar. All right. So if you'd like to get started right now, these are the steps you need to take. You need to decide on your topic, decide on your business model, decide on the goals. What are you doing your webinar for? Do you want to get more leads, more prospects? Do you want to get experience? Do you want to make a lot of money? What is it? You want to set your launch date for your first webinar, for webinar number 1. And then you're going to do the webinar on that date with or without attendees. You're not going to worry about whether you have attendees or not. You're saying, well, how am I going to get attendees? Well, that's the last one. You're going to promote your webinar to everybody you know via email and social media. Notice that none of this has cost you any money. All right. So you really have no excuses. Here's your opportunity to tap into a business model that is proven to work time and time and time again. You don't need a degree. You don't need any experience. All you need is the desire to help people solve their problems, answer their questions, and the desire to go out there and make a difference. That's pretty much all you need to do webinars. But if you'd like to get on the fast track to webinar cash flow, and yes, there is no W on purpose. If you want to get on the fast track to making webinar cash flow, then I'm going to invite you to join me on the next page. I'm going to take you through every single step of what you need to really make money with webinars. It's a simple, effective cash producing system. I'm going to teach you how to set up your webinars, how to get attendees, how to get free traffic. If you want to spend some money for traffic, how do you use solo ads? How do you use Facebook ads if you want to? Now, none of that is necessary, but you're going to know how to get traffic to your webinars. How do you get registrations? How do you get people to show up for your webinars? Which business model is best for you? How do you get joint venture partners? How do you get affiliates to promote your webinars? Let me tell you something. Promoting webinars is one of the easiest no-brainer things that affiliates and JV partners love because they know the high quality, the perceived value of webinars. It's much easier to get someone to convert at a webinar than it is a sales page. So if you've got great webinars and you've got webinars that have converted, then JV partners and affiliates will love you. So I'm going to teach you how to get JV partners and affiliates. And then I'm going to teach you how to replace your income in 12 months. That's it. Whatever you're making, I'm going to teach you how to replace it. So if you want to leave your job, if you have a job, you're going to know how to do that in the next year. If you want to keep your job and then do webinars on the side, that's your business. You're going to know how to do that. I'm also going to just basically give you the shortcut to your next 6 or 7 figure and beyond paycheck. including all my tools, everything we use to do webinars, all my templates, all my scripts, my outlines for my webinars, every single thing you need to start making webinar cash flow. I'm going to hand it to you. If that sounds great, I want you to click the button on this page right now and let's get started. Now you're going to be taken to a page where you're going to basically get a recap of this again, and we're going to start this process together in the next few days. So go ahead and click the button right now, and I'll see you on the other side. Take care.